Okay, what do we do when we go wrong? And it happens. It does. Well, for that we've got two tools in Photoshop which are linked together. We've got what they call undos and we've got history. Now let's have a look here at the history panel. Now if your history panel is not open, it lives in the window menu. So if you go to window and select history, your history panel will appear. You can make the history panel bigger and smaller by dragging on this bottom corner. Now in the history panel I've got one state at the moment because all I've done is I've opened this file and Big Brother Photoshop is watching, so it's noticed that I have opened this file. And now most major things that I do it will notice and it will make a record of. So okay, let's do something. We'll get a paintbrush. We'll say select white as its foreground colour, reasonable size brush, and we'll paint something. We'll paint a line. So now, as well as opening the image, I've done something with the brush tool. So if I now decide to do something else, I can draw another line. Say I get another brush tool. So it says I've done two things now. And I can do something else and it'll say, oh, now I've done three things. And now I can step back in history. If that third thing I did, which was this line, I think, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that. Then I can click back on that second history state and it takes me back to before I did that third thing. And I can go back to the first one, and if I click right back on the question mark, it takes me right back to when I opened the image. And now if I do something else, it throws away that original history and it starts a new one. So now I can do three more things. And if I like, then I can click back to go back in history, back to where I started. Okay, now connected to the history panel we have our undos. So if I go to the edit menu, you'll see up at the top here I've got undo, step forward and step backward. And what this is doing is the undo is undoing the last thing I did wrong, or it's whatever I did. And step forward is stepping forward through the history panel, and stepping backward is stepping backward through the history panel. So let's see how that works. I'll use the brush tool. And again, we'll just paint with white and I'll paint something on, and you can see that I've now got a brush tool state appeared in my history panel. But if I go up to my edit menu, you can see I've got an undo brush tool, or I can use Control and Z or Command and Z if you're on a Mac. So either way, if I click there, you can see it takes away that history state and it takes me back to my starting point. Okay, so let's draw one line and we'll draw another line and we'll draw another line. So we've now got three states appeared in the history. So if I wanted to use the menus, I could go to undo the brush tool, which would take away the last thing I did. But then edit, if you look now, it says redo the brush tool. So if I click that, it'll put it back again, because it only works on the last thing you did. So if I now go to undo that, then if I want to get rid of the other two states, then I can go to edit and step backward. And I can do edit and step backward again. So you can see that I'm stepping backward through my history. So it's just the same as clicking on it in the history palette. And then if I go to edit, I can do step forward, edit, step forward, and then edit and step backward again. So you can see the undos are actually connected into the history panel. So you can either use the history panel and keep an eye on what you do and then just click backwards and forwards in the history panel, or you can use your undos, which are in the edit menu, and you can either just undo one thing if you did it wrong with Control and Z, or you can use step forward, which is Shift Control and Z, or step backward, which is Alt Control and Z in your history, to delete more than one thing that you did wrong. Now the maximum history states in your history panel is set by default to 20. So this basically means you can make 20 mistakes and then the first one disappears. So you can't get back to where you started. Now you can increase this number in preferences. So if I go to Edit and Preferences, or if you're on a Mac, Photoshop and Preferences, and I can go to Performance. And in Performance here you can see I've got a setting for my history states which is set to 20, and I can, by moving that slider, increase them. Now as this is under the Performance section of the Preferences of Photoshop, you might have guessed that increasing the number of history states, because Photoshop has to remember everything, it can negatively impact the speed of the application. So I would normally recommend leaving that at 20, because if you put it up, basically it'll just slow Photoshop down. Okay, I'll just come out of there. Okay, a little bit of a recap. If you want to undo something that you've done before that's wrong, you can go up to the Edit menu and you would select Undo, or Control and Z, or Command and Z if you're on a Mac. You can step forward through your history by using Shift, Control and Z, and you can step backward in your history using Alt, Control and Z. Or you can have your history panel open and just click either forward or backward on your history states. Well, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments under the video. If you like the video, please share it with a friend or two, and click the subscribe button so when I upload a new video you are the first to know. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the very next video. Bye for now.